live across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel as we come to you live on a Thursday night and live from Screwballs. It's a special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show as we lead you in. We are Eagles proud tonight, Henry Racich, and I say that because we do not want to be the football team that goes into Detroit on Sunday, and we do not want to be that football team that loses to the 0-7 Detroit Lions. We're live here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. We're all presented by Stateside Vodka. Go to statesidevodka.com. Use the keyword JAKIB. You'll get 15% off of the Stateside Vodka soda. If you're in Pennsylvania, they'll deliver it right to your door. Joe Krause here along with my partner Henry Racich and Luigi here for the next hour to talk football. And we've got a great lineup, a great crowd, a band in the house. We'll tell you about the band. Delivery? We got a flower delivery.
Sirianni and the flower. Oh, that is great. That is great, man.
A little bit of flower.
That is so funny. Is that from a cemetery? He stole it from a woman.
No, I'm in some hot water. I could use them, if you don't mind. Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. Thanks. I'm kidding, man. I don't need them.
Well, that's been much of the talk, Henry. Let me ask you a little bit about the thought process of that. There's been a lot of conversation all week. Tell me your initial thoughts about watering and fertilizing and all of that stuff.
Well, the fertilizing part is he's shoveling a little, you know what, just to buy and beg for patience. And I guess this is his version of the process. So I have to, talk to this flower, water this flower, get this to bloom. But the city doesn't want to hear that, and this team, to me, is in a lot of trouble. Their defense is horrible. But the flower analogy, that's not going to fly in Philly.
I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about the flower throughout the next hour here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show. Live, Luigi Curto joins us. Luigi, welcome in Thursday night. A week ago, we were here, and we thought, or we expected, or we at least figured that the Eagles would have an opportunity or a chance to go into Vegas and beat the Raiders. They got blown out of that game. What's your initial thoughts as we come on the air going into Detroit, facing a team that is winless, but they have been competitive in 5 of those 7 losses? What's your initial thoughts?
My initial thought is that we're screwed. So here's the thing, ready? Is we go into Vegas, and the one thing that I was hanging my hat on, and I was saying this, Henry, when you were gone, you were using your PTO time, and I appreciate you doing that for yourself.
Need a little break.
Is that the one thing is that the Eagles' defense competed on every play. I mean, they really did. You showed that they went out there and they did compete.
I don't think they competed. I think they got gashed through the sky.
Before that, that's what I'm saying.
All right.
Then they go to Vegas and the wheels fall off. So now I can sit there and go, well, they're not really competing. What's going on? Then it comes out, guys like Fletcher Cox are stepping up and saying, hey, I don't think this guy knows what he's doing out here, right? And that's not good. You have you have a coup building inside the locker room with these players, right? You're heading into Detroit right now to go play this winless Lions team, who for Dan Campbell, Joe, as you said, they play tough. They come in, they compete every single week. They come at you 100 miles an hour, and they don't stop. Will they make mistakes? Yeah. But you know what? They're not afraid to make mistakes. They're not afraid to play this game. Sirianni, I don't know what game he's playing, but this isn't football. It's not going to work in the NFL. Not offensively, at least.
We'll see how it all plays out on Sunday. Of course, it's a 1 o'clock kick. Eagles and the Detroit Lions. Eagles 2-5. Lions are 0-7. We'll talk about their first-year head coach, Dan Campbell, and we'll do some comparison to head coach Nick Sirianni a little bit later on. Coming up in 15, Mark Farzetta will join us here on the Countdown to Kickoff show. We'll get Farzy's insight into this football game. Maybe Blair Thomas will stop by Screwballs a little bit later. We'll either talk to Blair about the Penn State game on Saturday night or see what he thinks. We'll certainly get an opinion from him as well. Henry, I know that you've got a relationship with DeAndre Swift's father,
yes.
And I'd love for you to talk about that a little bit. DeAndre Swift, a local product, great football player at St. Joe's Prep. dynamite college career at the University of Georgia, and now having great success in Detroit. He gets yaks after the catch. That's how they'll use him this week against that soft defense. But first, your thoughts on DeAndre.
DeAndre is probably one of the hardest working professional athletes I've ever seen. His amateur work ethic was off the charts at St. Joe's. His father, I played in the same backfield with his dad on our semi-pro team. His dad played at Del Valle College. His dad is a mini version of him. When I played with him, tough runner, breaking tackles. Not one guy brings him down. But what DeAndre has that Darren does not have, the father's Darren, is he's a home run hitter. Like, that's the kind of guy. He can take it 80 yards at any time. He's a great receiver. He's a great runner, great vision, great instincts. When he's in open field, it's like flag football. It's even hard to touch the guy. So, but he's the kind of guy that can hurt this defense. I'm going to harp on this Eagles defense all day and all night during this show because they're 32nd in passing, 27th against the run last. They're horrible. Their defense is pathetic. I mean, if there's three aspects, you have defense, offense, special teams. One of those is not showing up every Sunday. It's the defense. This coach sits in the zone. He has an arena football mentality. Keep everyone in front of you. Don't let them get up top. They're getting gashed all over the place. Nope, they have one lockdown guy, in my mind, Slay, and just stay away from him and the one guy that he's locking down, and it's low-hanging fruit. It's a free-for-all across the middle.
NFL insider John McMullen, who is co-host of Birds 365. You'll hear him every night on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. His pushback to you and his pushback to the Jonathan Gannon doubters are that this team lacks the personnel to do anything else.
That's incorrect. Their front four is above average. They're a B-plus front four. They're a B-plus run-stop defense.
On paper.
After that, it's a free-for-all, like I said. He doesn't blitz. He does not have linebackers. The Eagles, for the last 10 years, have forgotten the linebacker position. They haven't drafted a high-level, game-changing linebacker in probably, 10 years. Who's the last guy? Trotter. Jeremiah Trotter, the Axeman. So that's the last time we saw a presence. That's the last time an offensive coordinator had to worry about a blitz. I mean, they're not getting sacks. They're getting less than 2 sacks a game.
My thing is with this team, so Nick, with this flower stuff that he's talking about, and I understand like growing the roots and all these things. The one thing that he seems to forget is that, Joe, and you said this, so I'll piggyback a little bit. This fan base in this town is not going to buy this flower potting stuff that he's saying, okay? He's a leader of men. He's a leader of this football team, okay? There are people out there that are coaches who, quote, works like the art of war when they go in there, and they inspire teams, right? They'll quote works my own autobiography of where the hell am I and what's that smell, right? Things like that. This guy's quoting Pinterest. That's the problem. You know what I mean? It's not gonna convey to these players that way. It's not gonna get to them. And then on top of that, you want to grow roots in something? The NFL's a week-to-week league, man. You can't grow roots in the NFL like that. You've been here for 1 minute. Sorry, Joe, I don't have to cut you off. This is the part that gets me a little upset about being a fan. I try not to be biased when I'm on the air, but it's a week-to-week league. You're not Bill Belichick. You haven't been here forever. You haven't had a chance to build anything. You're not doing anything here. If you don't perform with what you have here and the amount of time we've given you, you're gone. Regardless of your roots, take your pot with you and go.
Well, I will tell you this, conversation inside the locker room today after practice. Of course, again, John McMullen down in South Philadelphia, down at the NovaCare Center. Conversation from the players is that the players didn't have an issue with the analogy. Now, I get it. You think of football players, you think of guys like Henry Razich, you think of guys in your face, you think of big, tough football players, athletes, skilled, the whole 9 yards, and the analogy doesn't fit the narrative.
You mean being called flowers?
Well, that's toxic masculinity. That doesn't belong. You could use an acorn growing the mighty oak if you wanted to, whatever. That's not the point. The point is just that you're not going to be here in another freaking 6 months. So what are you talking about growing?
Well, if that's his analogy and that's his take and that's his let's try to buy time, let's appease the fans, this team was a Super Bowl champion 4 years ago. What team in recent history is plummeting? They're now 2-5. They're starting to unload their assets like Hurts. What he's talking about is, be patient. This flower's going to bloom. They unload Hurts. They're going to start unloading pieces of that Super Bowl team to try to build for the future, whether this guy's going to be there or not. But, I don't like the analogy. I don't
if
like
you're on the sideline right now, Henry, and you're the defensive coordinator, what are you doing? Knowing
you're 2-5, start blitzing.
Based on, let me finish the statement, and then I'm sure you're going to give me the same answer.
Fire.
Based on the fact, and you admitted it, that the team does not have great personnel.
Right.
How are you going to coach the game?
Be aggressive. I mean, listen, in your mind, if you're a head coach and you're basically telling this city, we're going to stink the rest of this year, but we're going to bloom in a season or two. All right, because flowers don't bloom overnight. So he's basically using this analogy to appease us and say, please be patient. We're going to be good someday, but they're just asking you to suffer the anxiety and anguish of this crop maturing, I guess he's trying to say. So, if they unloaded Hurts for draft picks, if they're going to, sooner as this season goes on, you're going to see more and more veterans get dealt.
Well, let me ask you this, and Luigi, I'll get your opinion first, and then Henry, I'll wrap up with you. Then I'm going to go to a break. On the other side of the break, Mark Farzetta will join us, and we'll get his thoughts going into this game against Detroit. Fletcher Cox came out after the game in Las Vegas, and a veteran, highest paid player on the defensive side of the football. He's been to the Pro Bowl. He's won a Super Bowl, the whole 9 yards. And Fletcher shows a kink in the armor, Luigi, by coming out and actually verbalizing his frustration. What's your thoughts about that?
That's what happens when you have a 10-year player who's been through it all and seen it all and done it all and knows better about what's going on. But the fact, to the point you made earlier, and this correlates with that, is that Henry was talking about growing, right? Like it doesn't take, the flower doesn't just grow overnight. It takes time to bloom and everything, right? If you have a defense like this, just like Henderson, start blitzing. Be opportunistic. Go crazy, right? Go through the growing pains. At least those are called growing pains. If you stand still and do the same thing over and over again with these people, it's called agony and death. That's what it's called. They're not doing anything different. And the fact that Fletcher Cox is sitting here watching his career go by with this guy at the helm.
Well, his window's closing.
Right,
maybe 5 years. I mean, optimistically, he's got 5 years in the trenches left.
Well, Barrett Brooks has said this many times on The Middle with Eitan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays in his football analysis. If a new coach cannot prove to the veteran players that he can make the veteran players better, they will not follow. If he can prove that he'll make them better, especially Fletcher at this stage in his career, if he can make them better, they will follow. Obviously, from Fletcher's statements,
he's a Pro Bowler.
That's not resonating.
He's a Pro Bowler, multi-millionaire, been there, done that, makes more money than his coach. This is his first year. He's sitting there going, what are you going to tell me that I don't already know? Just as you said, Joe, if they're not giving you anything anywhere, if they're not enabling you to grow in some way, they're not going to follow you.
Last thought, Henry, before we go to the break.
Nick Sirianni has been set up to fail from day one. He's running a mid-level college offense. He has no linebackers. He has no defensive schemes. They're always worried about somebody going over top, so they're not an aggressive defense at all. They don't strike fear in any offensive coordinator's mind. The Eagles are a vacation week, the defense that they're playing. And this guy, he must have some knowledge that we don't know. Like maybe he's guaranteed 5 years. He can't get fired. I don't know what it is, but you're looking at 3 years before you get back to where you were in 7.
Countdown to Kickoff show as we come to you live from Screwballs across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. On the other side of the break, Mark Farzetta will join us back in a moment.
Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass. Free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
When it comes to the fight against insurance companies, large corporations, and the healthcare industry, injured victims are always the underdog. But that doesn't worry us. At Messa & Associates, we're an injury law firm from Philadelphia, and we come to fight. Our clients know that they've got representation with a chip on its shoulder, and it's the same chip that makes Philly the toughest city in the country. Call 215-568-3500 or visit us online at messalaw.com. Messa & Associates, the toughest injury firm in Philadelphia.
And so
on the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you. Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
And we're back here live at Screwballs here on a special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show, along with Henry Racich and Luigi. I'm Joe Krause, coming to you from on a Thursday night where our commitment to the Eagle fan base is we will this team.
We will this team
to
what
a victory
exactly is the question?
on Sunday afternoon. We do not want to be the football team. Mark Farzetta, who joins us now. Mark, we do not want to be the football team that goes into Detroit and loses to an 0-7 football team.
That sounds great. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's go ahead and we will win this team to winning, and we will, right? We will.
We will wilt? Wilt
Maybe.
like a flower wilt or will?
Will.
Okay.
Will.
Who is Will? Who is this Will we speak of? Do I know the guy?
Will
Who is
Smith.
this?
I got a cousin Will. He's a great guy, but I don't think he has anything to do. Actually, he played quarterback at Moravian. Maybe the Eagles could use him. I don't know.
Hey, listen, they're taking applications, Mark.
No, I double dog dare the Eagles to be the team that loses to the Detroit Lions. Like I triple dog, and you know what? Dog mentality and all that, flower mentality, whatever it is. Yes, we will go ahead and we will take over this on our own and say that the Eagles will win on Sunday against the Lions. We will wish it into existence.
Well, just to give you a little theater of the mind, Mark, so you can visualize our night here at Screwballs, where a band Instinct will play following the live show. Big crowd, big house, very popular group, obviously, as Screwballs continues to fill up. But when we came on the air live on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel, we were presented with a bouquet of flowers to begin the broadcast. So 5 days after the fact, or 4 days after the fact, there's more conversation about flowers than there is about this football game.
Isn't that beautiful? That's just a nice thing. Because I know when I'm in the middle of a locker room with a bunch of rough and tumble football players or a film room, I want to start talking about daisies. That's what I want to get into, to inspire them to not be a team that loses to the Detroit Lions. That's really how you capture the imagination and the momentum of a team, is to start talking about fun. Like, that is just, like, this guy, and I've been saying it for weeks, Joe, you know this guy is just so in over his head, and he knows that he can allow Howie Roseman and does allow Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie, to do whatever the hell they want. And look, that ultimately was the problem between Doug Peterson and the front office. That Doug Peterson actually started to grow some clout. Doug Peterson already had a relationship with Jeffrey Lurie, but the minute everyone started winning, everyone wanted to take credit for why that was happening. I'm winning despite this other guy, and that's why we're winning, because the other guy stinks, but I'm great. And then the minute there was that power struggle and Doug got fired, they immediately ran to somebody that they knew they would not have a power struggle with, and that's Nick Sirianni, a guy that's just happy to have a head coaching job in the NFL. Don't get me wrong. I have moved past the point of really criticizing Nick Sirianni at this point, and now I just focus everything on that front office, on Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie, because I don't know how for the life of me, and Joe, you heard me say this on the postgame show at the end of the game last week against the Raiders on Sunday, where I looked at it and I said, how do you sit across from this guy and go, oh, this is the guy I want to be my head coach. This is the guy that's going to be innovative. This is the guy that's going to be creative. This is the guy that's going to be a guy that's greatly motivating to this team. So I don't see how you sit across from him and go, oh, yeah, this has to be the guy right here. It's ridiculous. So I look more at Howie and Jeffrey at this point than I have probably ever have in their entire tenure together with the Philadelphia Eagles.
I can tell you exactly how to do that, Mark, because have you been keeping up with the Eagles draft picks over the last several years? That's how, because they sit across you and they go, that's my guy right there. That's my winner. That's my number one pick right there.
Let me ask you this, Mark, and talking about draft picks, Devontae Smith has not been that active in this offense. We keep waiting for Devontae Smith. Will this be the game with a couple of rookie cornerbacks starting for the Lions? Will this finally be the game where Nick, or I guess not even Nick, where Jalen will run and get Devontae involved?
I hope so, and I think we talked about this last week with you guys. There seems to be spurts. Like, Devontae Smith has had good games, but those good games have really been covering about 3 minutes of real time, where you see him get like 4 or 5 catches in a row, and he puts up all of a sudden 70 yards, or he'll get one deep ball, and you'll see him, look good like that, like he did against the Atlanta Falcons, for instance, in Week 1. Remember that? That was a great time. But that has to be between Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts to get him involved, and they have to stretch it throughout. Now, the other thing is, Devontae Smith isn't doing himself any favors by not being strong with the football. I would like to see him continuously get opportunities to show what he can do at the NFL level, but I'm looking to Devontae Smith as a guy that will develop into a very strong wide receiver in terms of strong hands. He does not have NFL hands yet, meaning the minute a professional cornerback comes over to try to swipe the ball out, he drops it. He loses it. You also got to try to get on the same page as your wide receiver, and that falls on Jalen Hurts, because we saw it in the game against the Raiders. He threw behind Devontae Smith twice. If you're going to – look, I know that every quarterback's going to miss throws, especially a second-round pick that was supposed to be just a backup quarterback for the foreseeable future, and now all of a sudden he's a starting quarterback on this team. I know he's going to miss throws, but if Jalen Hurts wants to be the quarterback here for the foreseeable future, and that's his one-year audition right now, it might seem cruel, it might seem tough, it might seem harsh, but the Eagles are grading him almost against something impossible. They're grading him against 3 first-round draft picks next year. They're grading him against whatever they could do to draft with those picks, whatever they could do to trade those picks and bring in to try to replace Jalen Hurts as the starting quarterback.
Mark Farzetta.
I think it's more so a matter of Jalen Hurts having to perform right now because he simply has to. It's not a matter of trying to be hypercritical. It's a matter of knowing what's stacked up against him for his future here in Philadelphia. So every throw is crucial for him.
Mark Farzetta joining us here on the Countdown to Kickoff show. Really good analysis from Mark Farzetta. Of course, you can see Mark Farzetta, Derek Gunn, and Devin Caney on the live post-game show immediately following the game on Sunday. You'll find it here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. You'll also find it on 6abc.com, all presented by Ocean. Go for the shows, go for the win.
Mark, you were talking about getting Devontae Smith more and more included into the offense and working him in more and getting him the ball more, because he's been, inconsistently consistent, considering the fact that they haven't thrown him the ball. But doesn't that kind of come to the fact that, before last week's game, there was 240 pass attempts by Jalen Hurts, and a total of 6 were thrown in the middle of the football field. So isn't it a little difficult to do that when you're only using 12% of the field throwing the ball?
Oh, Oh yeah. That goes to show the terrible scheme that is being drawn up here by the front office and Nick Sirianni. But yeah, you're not using the whole field. I mean, I thought it would be a good idea to maybe, if you're going to use a lot of Chip Kelly's RPO stuff, maybe go ahead and use a little bit of that stretch offense as well and try to stretch the field as much as possible. I mean, it's just so predictable. And like you just said, you eliminate that much of the field.
It's 80%.
Defenses are already not worried about you running the ball. Now they have a huge area of the field they don't have to worry about you throwing the ball to. So, yeah, to me, it's bonkers.
Yeah, so to me, I know Henry wants to chime in real fast. It's just my point is with this whole flower thing and blooming and growing roots and everything like that, and you want to, it's for the long haul. Just let it go. Just open the playbook and let it go. You got to let Devontae run routes in the middle of the field. It's the only way his hands are ever going to develop, because he can't develop his hands if he doesn't catch the damn ball, and he can't catch the ball if you don't throw it to him. And you're never going to learn. You're never going to learn what Hurts is if you don't let him just uncork him and let him throw the ball deep and get some touch. He has no touch on a deep ball whatsoever. Zero touch on a deep ball.
No, he's not. I mean, look, I know that Donovan McNabb gets criticized a lot. Donovan McNabb threw one of the best deep balls you'll ever see throughout NFL history. That's how good he was at doing that, which is just another dumb reason why he put him in a West Coast offense. But anyway, that's a story for another day. But when you look at Jalen Hurts, I want to see him have that opportunity. Let him make those mistakes downfield. Get Quez Watkins involved. Get Devontae Smith involved more down the sidelines there. It seems like they had those two plays, one to Jalen Reagor, one to Devontae Smith in successive weeks, and they never went back to him again once they saw those guys run out of bounds and not be able to establish their position. If you're supposed to coach these guys up to be their best, give them the opportunity to have success again after they fail.
I mean, Mark, everyone focused in the first 4 games on Jalen Hurts. Now, here we go. We're going into the second half, the second 4 games, and I'm starting to hear more people talk about management and what their role is in this disastrous season. When are the Eagles going to pay attention to defense? Do you think those draft picks that they're picking up are going to be used to bolster the defense next year? Because to me, of the 3 offense, defense, and special teams, the defense really isn't showing up. And the defense is supposed to be ahead of the offense. It's the easiest thing to coach. Less moving parts. Be ball hawks. Do you think they go heavy with those draft picks on defense? And where would you draft first on this defense?
I think they're going to use one. Let's say they have 3 first-round picks. I think their goal, I'll say this, I think their goal going into it will be to take 1 defensive player. Most likely a corner, and if not a corner, probably defensive line. That's where I think they'll go on the defensive side, or when they think defense going into this. But mostly they're going to be thinking offense. As much as I'd like to think that they just address the defense, as much as I want to say they'll go after a safety, as much as I want to say they're going to go after a linebacker, they're not going to do that. That's not how they wire. They're wired at all. I think they're going to focus on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to try to get another draft pick by probably flipping Dillard by the trade deadline to try to bring in maybe a 3rd or a 4th round pick, which is just ridiculous to think about considering you traded up in the 1st round to get him just a couple of years ago. But yeah, I don't think I can't say that they go heavy. If I'm sitting next to him, I definitely go defensive line. Because Fletcher Cox isn't getting any younger. He's making all that money. You got to make sure you're spreading some of those bills out. And I would go corner as well. And I would definitely look at linebackers a lot more closely than the Eagles are, which is to say I would just look at a linebacker. Because they need that versatility. They need someone who could be a speedster linebacker for them and someone who could also get in the backfield. But I think they can get in the backfield if you actually diagram something for somebody to get into the backfield. I talked to Steven Nelson this week, and he talked about how this defensive scheme is a genius team because it doesn't allow the big play. I thought that was basic defense. I didn't think that was anything that was genius. Right. And every once in a while, it's not the worst thing to allow a big play. I'm not saying you just go out there and do it, but big plays happen because maybe you're being aggressive somewhere else. Every once in a while, it might be a good idea to still be aggressive and maybe force a big play to happen for you, as opposed to just sitting back and making sure they don't just have a 50-yard bomb over your head.
Yeah, there's a
lot that needs to be corrected.
I've never seen a defense start a game in a prevent. That's what I see every week. I feel like they start the game in a prevent every week.
You're in luck, man. Tune in this week to the Philadelphia Eagles game, man. You'll check it out.
It's brutal. It's hard to watch.
Right.
Good stuff from Mark Farzetta joining us here on the Countdown to Kickoff show. Again, win, lose, or draw on Sunday. Mark Farzetta, Derek Gunn, Devin Caney, across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel and on 6abc.com with the live post-game show. Farzy, great stuff, brother. Appreciate it, man.
My pleasure, guys. Good talking to you.
Good stuff from Mark Farzetta. We'll get to a commercial break as we roll along and come to you from Screwballs. It's our special countdown to kickoff on a Thursday night. Somebody in Screwballs, by the way, when the show ends, will win an opportunity to go to Detroit on Sunday for the game. Will they go if they win? Our qualifiers are back. We'll see how they do. Back in a moment.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that. Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
When it comes to the fight against insurance companies, large corporations, and the healthcare industry, injured victims are always the underdog. But that doesn't worry us. At Messa & Associates, we're an injury law firm from Philadelphia, and we come to fight. Our clients know that they've got representation with a chip on its shoulder, and it's the same chip that makes Philly the toughest city in the country. Call 215-568-3500 or visit us online at messalaw.com. Messa & Associates, the toughest injury firm in Philadelphia.
In Philadelphia, we celebrated the miracle with pride only 5 years ago. And then the following morning, IBEW Local 98 members went back to work, building this city, rescuing our communities from decay, and inspiring the young men and women of the region to take pride in who we are. Like the Cats, Local 98 members believe in hope. John Doherty, business manager of Local 98, says it this way: the best way not to forget where you come from is to never leave.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Live here on a Thursday night across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Don't forget, get out to Screwballs on Thursday night. Get out tonight. Instinct is on deck. They're getting set up. They're going to blow the roof off the building.
That's not good,
King
Joe.
of Prussia. I think it's going to be a great night here tonight. We do need the roof.
It's supposed to rain tonight, Joe. It's not a good night to blow the roof off the place.
Also, ashes to omens as well. So a great night. Planned here at Screwballs. It's a special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show live across the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Don't forget, as mentioned, one lucky winner from Screwballs will get an opportunity to go to Detroit. Our qualifiers are back. They'll perform. It's audience participation. will select another winner tonight to
so
perform as well.
It's so much fun, Joe.
Will they go, Henry?
No.
If they win, will the winner go to Detroit? Because
what's in Detroit? What is there to look at in Detroit?
You can go to Hardcore Pawn, man. Go see Les.
Smogs,
right?
Ford Motor Company.
There's got to be a statue of Stevie Eiserman.
I trade that in for the Washington trip.
By the way, good stuff from Mark Farzetta joining us in the last segment. Let's spend a couple of minutes unpacking what Farzy had to say. Henry, you ended the conversation about defense and this team beginning the game in prevent.
Yes, I mean, week after week after week after week, they're getting gashed through the air. Their front four is the best part of their defense. That starting front four. The second rotation, not so much. Hargrove coming in next to Fletcher Cox. That is pretty much somebody's going to get there. But their secondary and their linebackers against Swift this weekend, what linebackers covering that guy coming out of the backfield? Nobody. Unless they're in a dime and they get rid of a big backer, they bring in an extra safety or something. But this defense, somehow, everyone's always talking about Hurts, and then now we're talking about management more. This defense stinks. Just as hard. Defense wins championships, right? They couldn't stop a college team right now. It's how bad 350-plus yards a game through the air is. They might set a record.
The method to the madness, and Luigi, I'll come to you in just a second, just for clarity. The method to the madness is let's allow the opposing team to run 12-play, 14-play, 15-play, 16-play drives in the event that they're going to make a mistake or force a turnover. And I just don't see that happening. One of the reasons is because the Eagles are terrible in the red zone on defense.
Well, these 15-play drives, 14, 12, they're allowing an offense to get a rhythm. The more you're out there, the more plays you get, you start getting a rhythm. You start taking guys 3 and out, 4 and out, 5 and out, then they're constantly readjusting. When you have multiple 10-play and up drives in games that end up in scores, it's a wrap. You demoralize the defense.
Well, the thing with that is that these 10, 15-play drives, the one constant is that the offense is always on the field. The defense is constantly rotating players in and out. The team has no depth. So once you get past that starting allotment of of that front four, you're done. You have nothing coming in rotational-wise. And Henry mentioned, the interior play with Cox and
Hargrave.
And Hargrave, excuse me, get a little something in my throat here. There's the pass rush on the outside is non-existent. It's not. You have nothing coming from the edge. I mean, imagine how easy it is for an offensive line to pass protect when they know all they got to do is worry about the middle, and they can just go even up on the outsides and have to worry about chipping or doing anything.
When Fletcher Cox says, it's not my job to cover screens, he's talking about linebackers.
That's a problem.
He's talking about linebackers because his job is to get upfield, and the screen is designed to catch an aggressive team upfield. When Eagles won the Super Bowl, they had the best defensive line twice. Their second defensive line with the depth could be any team's starting defensive line. That's where the Eagles have hung their hat for the last decade on that D-line. They don't consider the middle important, and now they brought Slay in. They spent some money to bring a big corner in, a shutdown corner, which he's not. But the pieces around that secondary, none of them are lockdown guys, so you can't just take any number one out of the game. So when this front four gets worn down by these 10, 12, 14 play drives, there's nobody there to replenish them. There's nobody behind them bringing heat. That front line is responsible for every sack. I mean, when's the last time an Eagle linebacker got a sack?
And not to mention the fact that when they come off the field and they look at the scoreboard, they're down 3 scores. There's not a lot of motive, to go in there and go do anything for these guys.
I think to a man, we were all in agreement a week ago that Derek Carr was a good quarterback. He was a middle of there's 32 teams in the National Football League. Carr was 14, 15, 16. Well, Derek Carr a week ago
looked like Joe Montana.
Completed over
90%. Over 90%, Joe.
Of his passes. Jared Goff is on deck.
Goff can get hot.
He can sling it.
Goff can get hot. He can make some throws. He's erratic. I mean, if you get any kind of pressure around him whatsoever, you know how Brady, you get to his feet and you can move him off a pedestal a little bit. Goff, you just got to get around him. If you get around him in any way, shape, or form, you can throw him off. We don't get around the quarterback. That's a problem. If you let him sit back there, he will pick you apart. He will kill you. He will absolutely kill you.
The game last week, even the announcers were saying this is like practice for the Raiders. This is like practice. Everything they do is working. Every pass they throw is not contested. Carr's not getting sacked. He can move a little bit. But, the focus needs the offense is way ahead of this defense right now. The offense is way closer to being a flower than the defense. The defense is, I don't even know what you would call where they are in a garden right now.
That's like the soil.
I don't know what they are. They're
an earthworm.
Termite.
An earthworm?
Struggling to stay alive. This defense is one of the worst I've seen around here in a long time.
I got to push back with you just a little bit on the offense.
Joe does not like what he hears right here.
Listen, the offense is getting 100 yards on the ground because Jalen Hurts is averaging 60 yards a game. All right, so the run game's not abysmal. It's in the middle of the pack.
Majority of the Eagle offense, though, is coming in garbage time.
Yes.
They were down 30-7 a week ago before they finally got going. So the Raiders took their foot off the gas, and then they started to accumulate.
With the Eagles' offense relying so heavily on Jalen Hurts and his RPO and his running ability, what happens if this guy who is what is he, over 40, 60%, almost 60% of the offense?
About that.
Yeah. What happens, God forbid, he goes down. Then what happens to your offense? And your offense is going to look a lot more like the defense. And then, at this point in time, it's a scratch year. They're not going to make the playoffs. So, I don't know, do you tank the rest?
No.
Do you go for high draft picks and then the flower blooms, the bud opens a little bit next season? This season, I said not to expect much from this team. I didn't expect it to be this bad, though. I thought possibly 500, but...
If Jalen Hurts...
I said 5 wins, Henry. 5. And I didn't think it would be this ugly to even try to scrape and crawl to it, man.
Let me get your thoughts on this. If Jalen Hurts struggles in the first half of this football game, does Nick Sirianni go to Gardner Minshew?
No. Nope. No. He's not the one that's auditioning. He's not the one that they're trying to raise stock in. So I really think that with the right weapons, right now, I don't care who Jalen Hurts has. His coach is so against the run that they're easy to tee up. When you have a nice secondary, you have other teams with good backers and good secondaries, and you're just a pass-happy team, more bad things happen on a pass than good. So, unless they get a little more run-conscious and pound the ball a little bit, give your defense some time to recover. Give them, you put a 10 to 15 play drive together. Has that happened yet? No, it has not happened yet. So the defense Fletcher Cox is frustrated, man. He's on the field so much in a game. He's never used to playing these kind of minutes.
Yeah,
because he's always had a lockdown defense. He's frustrated. He don't want to chase a damn screen. He already ran 7 yards upfield. Now he's supposed to go run 15 more yards because you don't have a linebacker that can sniff that out. Listen, Fletcher Cox and the other veterans have already been to the top of the hill. This guy has a lot of problems, and I'm not going to be surprised if he gets dealt within this year or next year. Fletcher Cox, before his stock goes all the way down, they maybe get another 1 first or third or a couple threes or a couple twos. It's not looking good. When you have your veterans start talking like that, and they have the ear of the city, I don't know about the ownership even cares if Fletcher Cox is unhappy, the money they're paying him, but that's a big problem when your star defensive, that's like Reggie White coming out and saying, what is this guy doing?
Yeah, and they let him go.
But the rookies, so you hear Fletcher Cox saying that, and conversely, there's a quote from Jalen Hurts saying, we have all that we need. I don't know what he's talking about. They do not have all what they need.
It's nice
he may be talking about the offense. Maybe they have a high-level back, a high-level receiver, a high-level quarterback, mediocre line.
Offensive line.
Yeah, so, when he goes, we have all what we need, I think he's talking about the offense. The offense is ahead of everybody. They're way ahead of them and the defense. This defense is the problem, a huge problem. I can't believe it's not getting as much attention, and it's always about Hurts, the guy with the ball in his hand. I get it. That guy's playing good football. He's playing good football. I don't have any issues with Hurts. I mean, yeah, he doesn't have the cannon that a lot of the other guys have, but guess what? With a mediocre offensive line, that guy has willed a lot of things to happen.
Offensive line's not mediocre.
No, it's back. Lane's back. He's back. But he started the season with a mediocre line. There were guys shuffled all over the place.
No, they started the season, and when they opened the season in Atlanta,
right,
they were a top
It's
three.
Atlanta, dude. It's Atlanta.
I'm talking about the offensive line.
Okay.
They were top 3 offensive line in the National Football League.
All right, so that's it. Are
Yeah,
they still?
Brandon
Are they
Brooks,
still?
Brandon Brooks. You had Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks, Jason Kelsey, Sayamalo, and then you had Jordan Mailata.
Yeah, what I'm basically saying is the problem with this team, in my mind, is not the offense. It's not. Is it the greatest offense? No, it's not. Is it the worst? Hell no, it's not. But this defense gets no love at the linebacker position. They need more depth, like Luigi said, on the D-line. That's what they always hang their hat on. And the secondary, I don't know what I'd give them. I mean, I can't give them a high rate. They're giving up 350 yards through the air every game. So that's the problem. And the philosophy of the head coach is this RPO stuff. I get it. He's keeping it simple for a rookie quarterback, a second-year quarterback. I'm okay with that. But there's no reason to not be aggressive on defense. A good team, what good team doesn't have an aggressive defense? This guy is an arena coach. In arena football, dink and dunk, then you get tight man and play balls to the wall inside the red zone. He's waiting for mistakes to happen from the other team. It's not happening. He's giving up 40 points a game in like 3 weeks in a row. It's the defense is the biggest problem with this team. Period.
Last thoughts, Luigi, before we go to the break.
Yeah, I'll give you my last thoughts. Someone needs to climb to the top of Lincoln Financial Field and take the Eagles flag and turn it upside down because the castle is in distress. Seriously, that's what needs to happen because it's not looking good right now. And it's not looking promising either for the next couple of years. I'm sorry, I hate to say it, it's just not. We need to start trading away these assets like Fletcher Cox immediately. Get as many draft picks as possible as we can for these guys now. Don't wait 2 years like we did like Ertz to get next to nothing for him when we could have got a second-round pick for him. And then take those picks and translate those into players that are going to be here on your offensive and defensive line and draft a damn linebacker. That's it.
Countdown to Kickoff show live from Screwballs. Back in a moment.
Mad.
Sick of it.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass. Free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that. Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. 1 free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
When it comes to the fight against insurance companies, large corporations, and the healthcare industry, injured victims are always the underdog. But that doesn't worry us. At Messa & Associates, we're an injury law firm from Philadelphia, and we come to fight. Our clients know that they've got representation with a chip on its shoulder, and it's the same chip that makes Philly the toughest city in the country. Call 215-568-3500 or visit us online at messalaw.com. Messa & Associates, the toughest injury firm in Philadelphia.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
I can feel it. We're going to will our way to a win on Sunday in Detroit. There is no way, Henry, there's no way, Luigi, that this football team can go into Detroit and be the team. You cannot go in there and be the team that loses to the winless Detroit Lions. Can you?
Want to
Yes,
bet?
you can.
Want to bet?
Yes, you can, because the Detroit Lions throw the ball over the field. And they have a back in the backfield who can just take one swing. Did you see the game last week? Swifty took a little swing route, 60-some yards. He can do that against the Eagles because there's not a linebacker. There's no one to stop him for 20 yards after he catches the ball because the linebackers are bailing. They're not blitzing.
Well, that and the fact that his head coach calls plays to him the ball, too. The head coach puts the ball
It's starting to get tough football to watch right now if you're a defensive guy. They say defense wins championships. The Eagles never got the memo because they don't draft a backer. But yeah, it's going to be tough. And Goff, if Goff gets hot, it's going to be Derek Carr looked like Joe Montana. Jared Goff could look like Steve Young.
He wouldn't give him Joe Montana, but he'd give him Steve Young.
It's just scary, man. It's just week after week after week. Do you bring a new defensive coordinator in? I mean, think about our defensive coordinators in this town over the years. Can you even got his name in the same breath?
Do you know what the saddest?
Jimmy Johnson.
Do you know what the saddest part about this whole situation is? This whole scenario is. Ever sitting here, we're talking about this and how bad it looks, and maybe possibly getting rid of Gannon, getting rid of Sirianni, and moving on from Hurts and all this stuff. At the end of the day, we still have the same two guys pulling the trigger on all the decisions being made
at the top.
The only way this franchise is ever going to get back to what it was and what we need it to be, you got to cut the head off the snake, man. I'm sorry. Howie's got to go. Jeff's not going anywhere because he's never selling the team. But you got to get rid of the general manager. You have to.
Not happening. Next point.
That's not going to happen.
I'm telling you, it's the only way. Well, then guess what? We're looking at
He brought him a
mediocrity.
Super Bowl. Howie was the man. Listen, he was brilliant. That year they won a Super Bowl. I always say that the moon and the stars and the sun all lined up for them.
Sure it did.
Including Rodgers going down. I think Dak went down that year too. I think. So all the big rivals in the division went down. So it was like truly a year of like destiny and luck worked for the Eagles. But they're not getting rid of either one of those two guys. So the defensive coordinator is the first guy on the chopping block in my mind because you can't justify these scores. You can't justify week after week giving up 40 points. Okay, you can say, I don't have the guys. I don't have the personnel. I don't have the $100 million player. But we're not seeing any schemes. We're not seeing anything. Hey, you got an NFL linebacker. He's a linebacker. He's in the NFL. He should be able to blitz. He may not be an all-pro linebacker, but that front four needs help. They need help. They're getting their teeth kicked in every week.
And you don't think Deuce Staley knows that?
Yeah, well,
on the other sideline, you don't think he knows that?
An opportunity to bring Deuce Staley up
I would love
today,
Deuce
but
to have a job.
He's gonna have a real good time on Sunday with this Eagles defense. I assure you that.
Miles Sanders, of course, out for the game. So Boston Scott.
He's been out all year, even when he was in. They didn't use him.
You can put a tire out there and roll it forward. It's the same thing as our running game. No big deal.
Boston
Seriously.
Scott will replace Miles Sanders. Perhaps Jordan Howard will come off the practice squad. But will they run or will they line up and run a more traditional type of offense like they did the first possession a week ago?
Ooh,
I don't hold a lot of stock in. Sorry,
No, you're fine.
I don't hold a lot of stock in first possessions. I mean, it's great that they went down and scored, and then the other team goes back because the juices aren't flowing yet. The defense isn't. Nobody's playing their best ball in the first drive. That's where you have a lot of mistakes, a lot of penalties, a lot of offsides. It's a filling out. An offense scripts the first 10, 15 plays. If they score, okay, they script the first 10, 15 plays. They go right down the field and score. Make it look easy. All right, why not happen again? For like 4 more series, 5 more series, they get another drive together. But this I'm going to stay on the defense until I see something happen. This defense has not showed up. They're 2 wins, yeah, but against who?
Well, they beat Atlanta in the opener.
Atlanta's gotten extremely better over the course of the last several weeks.
Like I said, the beginning of a game and the beginning of the season, your first drive on offense, I mean, my team never scores on the first drive. Steelers never score on a touchdown on the first drive, ever. But, they're starting hot. The Eagles have started hot, and then what happens? They go cold because there's no consistency. There's nothing for the offense to be worried about after that first scripted plays.
I wonder if Nick is actually, if he's thinking this is a must-win game for him because God forbid he loses this game in Detroit. Could you imagine? I mean, you think he's feeling any extra pressure to play a winless team? To come home after losing against a winless team, after coming back from another road humiliating loss in Las Vegas? I don't know, man.
I don't know what the feeling. If the Eagles lose the game on Sunday, I don't know what the feeling will be like.
Numb.
Inside the Eagles organization. I know outside of the Eagles organization, from a fan base perspective, man, it's going to be It's going to be like you died and went to hell next week. It's going to be a tough week in the city next week.
I agree with Joe, and if I'm them, I'll tell you what, I'm declining all media appearances for the entire week. I'm not speaking. I'm not saying anything if I'm the coach. I'm like, you know what? We're taking a mulligan this week. We're sitting out. That's it.
3 minutes until we say goodbye here on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel as we come to you live from Screwballs. Here on a Thursday night special edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show. Don't forget, coming up, you still have time to get out. Instinct will perform out at Screwballs. Great to have Instinct in the house.
They just need to show up.
I may even stick around and enjoy some of the activity and some of the festivities going on here at Screwballs. Quickly now, last thoughts, Eagles-Lions. Henry, I'll start with you. Luigi, I'll have you finishing up. Henry, you got a minute, about a minute.
I'll give you a minute.
He's having less time now. Let him talk.
I'm going to say that first thing about the fan base and everything you were talking about, I think half the fan base already checked out. And I don't think if they lose to the Lions, it's not going to be the uproar, sorry about the pun, that you would think, because at this point in time, I think a lot of the fan base is like, all right, we're going to stink. This is a scratch year. Let's just stop, bitching about some things and just accept what we are. Nick's talking about we're flowers. We're going to grow and bloom someday. That's a cash-it-in mentality in my mind. I would never say that. Hey, we're going to grow. We're going to be good someday. No, we got to get good today. And I'll close with the defense stinks. Gaddon's job's on the line, and I'm going to take the Lions 34-21.
34-21. Henry likes the Lions. Luigi?
I'll take a little bit of a different approach here. So I think this is a bit of a walk the plank moment for Jonathan Gannon this week. If they go out there and get absolutely annihilated again on the defense side of the ball, I think his days are very, very shortly numbered. I also think that if Jalen Hurts does start out a little bit slow and his offense does come out a little stagnant, I absolutely do not want the quick trigger to go to Gardner Minshew. I don't want to see Minshew at all. Unless Hurts gets hurt, I don't want to see him at all. There's no reason for him to be playing. Like Henry said before, he's not auditioning for anything, all right? He's already got the job. He's backing up. Let him sit there. All he's going to do is help you look a little better than what you may have looked with Hurts if he struggles or whatever the case may be. As far as running the ball, doesn't matter if Miles Sanders hurt, doesn't matter if Boston Scott's running the ball. Like I said, put a spare tire out there and roll it forward 12 times. There's your running game. That's the way it looks. For me, I just
Who do you like?
Who do I like? I'll be honest with you, man. I can't. I don't want to say they lose the game. I can't say they win it. Eagles tie 30-30. That's it. Eagles tie 30-30. Joe, 2 years ago I called the exact score for the Eagles-Lions game. We were doing the show on Sunday. I called that exact score. It will happen again, 30-30.
Wow. That's going to do it for this edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show. Let's find out as we say goodbye how the fans feel if we can get everybody in Screwballs to do an Eagles chant. Good or bad? What do you think?
I thought you wanted them to really say how they feel.
Ted, what do you think?
Ted should lead it.
Can we get an Eagles chant?
Can we fit that many swears into one frame? Is that possible?
Is it die, Eagles, die?
Yeah.
Eagles, die?
All right, let's try it before we say goodbye. I'm already over. Let's try it. Ted, you want to lead it? All right, let's do it. We'll do it in 3. We're going to do an Eagles chant, everybody in Screwballs, and then we're going to say goodbye, all right?
All right.
All right, let's do it in 3, 2, 1. All right, I'll take that. That's good stuff. That's going to do it for this edition of the Countdown to Kickoff
Henry, this
show.
is for you, buddy.
Don't forget.
Thank you.
You're welcome, buddy.
Don't forget, as we say goodbye, one lucky winner will go to Detroit on Sunday. On behalf of Luigi, on behalf of Henry, Nick, Chris, Xander, who's producing back at the studio.
Z-Dog.
I'm
good
Joe
job,
Krause.
Xander.
See you next time, everybody.